next up, moving back to Glasgow, and we've got Marlon Hosey from the Beatson Cancer Charity to share about gardening in a cancer hospital setting. So, Marlon, are you there?
Thank you, Juliet. Yes, I'm here.
Hello.
I am based in the Beatson West of Scotland Cancer Centre, which means at the moment I'm sitting next to the ambulance delivery bay. I've got the radiotherapy, so there's lots of things going on in the background. So if it gets noisy at any point, I'm very sorry about that. As part of the charity, everything that we do is to try and make the experience of coming to hospital for treatment as kind and as supported as possible for patients and their loved ones. And that's kind of how we've extended into looking after some of the environment here at the hospital. I've got millions of photographs here. So if you flick on, so this is an aerial view of the Beatson West of Scotland Cancer Centre. So we see lots of patients from all over the west of Scotland for their radiotherapy, chemotherapy as well. So the hearts are where we have transformed some of the outdoor and indoor spaces on site. So we've got 7 areas and our eye on some more. Juliet, if you want to move on. So the first garden we revamped was round one of the you can move on. So this is right outside my office. So that overhang there is the ambulance bay. This must have been taken later in the day because there's no ambulances. So this was the first garden area that we tackled. Keep going. So we levelled it, we took everything out, and the garden team put up some guide marks for paving so that the garden was much more accessible, so that people could sit out and have a wander around. They planted a little bit before we got the heavy squad in to do some paving for us, again, to make the garden more accessible. So one of the companies donated the stones and another company very kindly gifted us the fitting in kind as a contribution to the centre. And then once we kind of got the layout of that garden established, the lovely, this is Marie and our partner in crime, Fiona. They have adopted that garden as their own. So every year they look after it, they tend it, they develop it, they change the flowers for colour and seasons and things like that. So that's kind of how it looks in the summer. And this is how it looks in the winter. This photograph I've included because the cafe used to have frosted glass with our yellow branding because it was quite bushy outside. That's a technical gardening term. You can use that later. We've been able to take the frosted glass off so that the patients that are having lunch or a break or catching up with or waiting on their loved ones coming round back from treatment can actually see the garden areas. So that's why I included that picture there, which is really, really nice. Second garden was its next door neighbour. Just keep going, Juliet. So again, jaggy bushes, we get the heavy squad in to rip all of that out for us. And because it's a hospital, we're really limited with infection control, with rubbish, we're moving around the hospital. So that team actually were able to bag and take everything safe and off-site and dispose of it safely for us. Compost delivery, again, not easy in a hospital environment, but we got there. Lots of planting. You can see the team there. Keep going. We do actually help out now and again, we are allowed, and we get some tremendous support from the Tree Lovers Society. So good things all round. And that's kind of how it looks at the moment-ish. We also have a wellbeing centre, which is a dedicated space within the hospital here that the charity funds for cancer patients and their families. The balconies, that's the kind of sorry state that we're in at the start. That was our psychedelic phase. That is a type of flooring that was recommended because it's easy to clean and maintain because we're very limited on products and chemicals and things like that we can use in a hospital environment or anywhere near patients. So we were told that this would keep its colour, and as you can see from that photograph, it absolutely did not. It ended up looking really dirty and tired. So we were able to replace that more recently. And again, the team, there's always a cup of tea here at the Beatson. We feed them and look after them. So this is how it kind of looks at the moment. And again, patients, their loved ones, their families, their children who are in the wellbeing centre for a relaxing space, they overlook some of these areas. Forward. The main entrance, people tend to get in and get to their appointment, but again, it was another green space because there was a wee bit of outdoor seating there as well. So we adopted that area, took that on. So we got planters, lots of new compost, cleared it out to make it lower maintenance. Started to plant that, and again, that's an area that we just keep the flowers updated, keep planting and kind of tending for them. So that was our last plant delivery there. And we've also got a Christmas tree around at the front door as well, that's potted, we look after. So again, all the same teams. We've got 2 internal courtyards here at the hospital, which patients, when they are in the wards or in the day units receiving their chemotherapy, they can actually, they overlook this. The windows that you see all the way around, that's corridors and waiting areas for chemotherapy and MRI scanners. So these spaces are actually viewed by patients. When we took them over, they were really overgrown. The benches were falling apart. Juliet? Could he sit on them? So the first job was just a big tidy up. That plastic decking became very broken and slippy. So we just did our best to clean that up. Yep. Fixed seating you couldn't sit on. Light features that you couldn't see. Water features that are now defunct because you're not allowed to have a water feature in a hospital anymore. The water that standing water, like the puddles of water in the water feature, are a real infection control risk for Legionnaire's disease and things like that. So that was one of our biggest challenges, to actually get that removed, to like take the water feature out. There's electrics, there's water, there's standing water, there's infection control risks. So that was quite a win that we were able to kind of pursue that and keep going and get it removed, because the courtyards were locked. Nobody was allowed out. So these are more recent photographs. That's us helping. We end up breaking the equipment. Thank goodness we've got such wonderful gardeners. And the next one, again, we've managed to kind of repurpose some of the space, make it safe, make it usable. And we're delighted that the NHS, our landlords, have agreed that those outdoor spaces can now be used for patients and, importantly, staff as well. So we're just waiting and getting some more seating fitted, and we'll look at making that a much more usable space for people to get a bit of fresh air. And our most recent garden revamp was again round at the ambulance bay. So that's how it was before. That's some of the shots of the team. Stumps being removed. That's a local corporate. They had a great time in giving us a hand. And then fresh soil ready for planting. So again, great support from the tree lovers. For the first time, we were able to plant fruit trees and things like that on site. So that has just been planted. So that will kind of be established for the next few years. That's another green space at the hospital that we're looking after. That's how that's looking at the moment. Most importantly, we got an outside tap. That might not sound like a big deal, but all the drama we had with infection control and water, we got an outside tap. So we had a grand switch on of the tap, and it's suitably got a wee Beatson bow on it. We've added outside benches and picnic benches, which as a charity, we've been able to get them donated. So you can sit for a bit on one of the benches. We've got picnic tables and outdoor eating outside for the gardeners. There's a bake and roll too, and a toasty for the gardening team. So there's more outdoor space. Again, we were also really conscious of making sure that our flower choices and our plants and shrubs and things like that were bee friendly, insect friendly, butterfly friendly. Our mascot's a bee, so we were definitely encouraging the bees. And when they are on site, we really look after our gardeners. There's a real team dynamic, because the volunteers get a lot out of the gardening as well. Not only do they light up when a patient says, "Oh, it's a lovely garden space," or we get positive feedback from patients. It also helps them with their health and their well-being, and their own mental well-being, and being able to give something back for some of them as well is just tremendous. And it was our garden party in winter, so it wasn't in a garden where we had our certificate presented to us, but they're very much part of the family here at Beatson. And Beatson and Bloom are delighted to join. So that's kind of what we've been doing in a hospital setting in a flash.
Thank you so much. And we got through all the photos, but thank you so much for pulling them all together, because it's amazing to see the transformation that you've been leading the volunteers to create. It's wonderful. So please pass on our congratulations and thank you to all the volunteers as well.
Thank you.
And we're obviously delighted to be in discussions about this regional get together. So yeah, thank you so much, Marlon.